I'm Richard.
And I'm Will.
And together we're
The Irreverent Nerds. Bum, bum, bum.
May the 4th be with you! And of course, because it's Star Wars Day, Will's wearing a Zelda shirt and I'm wearing a Star Trek shirt.
I forgot.
Technically, we're not recording this on May the 4th, but you might be watching it on May the 4th. At least that's when it's releasing. So, we were trying to come up with some jokes. We were going to be like, I was going to do a Yoda impression, like,
May the 4th be with us.
4th of May be with you, it will. Or he was going to do...
Misa Jar Jar Binks! Misa so racist! So racist, Misa!
Jar Jar. Jar Jar.
You think that Darth Vader killed Jar Jar after the first film?
Yes. Dun, 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 dun. No, Jar Jar. I am your father. Misa don't think so! No. Oh my goodness. By the way, I share a last name with the actor. Actually, you know, I don't know if that's a good thing. Just realized. So I share a last name with the actor who played Jar Jar's voice.
I don't know who that is.
But he's a black man, so that means there's slavery in my family's history somewhere. Probably. Actually, I know there's some. So, confessions. I bear the white guilt of my ancestors.
My family lineage is lost to all time.
Yeah, yours came over from... Well, we're both European descent, but yours, what, Sweden? Norway?
Yeah, I think it was Switzerland, but it could have been Sweden. It's definitely not Norway. No, I'm pretty sure it's Switzerland. It's the one that borders Germany, because I have a German last name that means farmer.
Yeah, Switzerland. Boyer.
Well, the legend has it my family's last name used to be Butcher, but we butched something up. And
They didn't want to be
our
known.
last names and fled.
They wouldn't want to be known as the butchers.
Yeah, but I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, my last name is Best, which comes from the Old English Bieste, which may go back like over 1,000 years and potentially have been a surname added to people who were like sheep herders. So Beast.
Oh.
You know, somehow it came to mean I'm the best. You know, it's like not like I'm the sheep herder. It's
That's what I tell people. Here's my best friend.
Yeah. Which even if it's not true, it's always true. So anyway, guys, hey, May the 4th be with you.
This is the May.
Yeah. To be honest, like I almost forgot that was coming up, but then I think I saw it on Instagram. I was like, oh yeah, because I was so focused on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is coming out this week. I'm not looking at the camera. There it is.
I'm excited about it too.
By the way, I mean, obviously you've noticed we've changed up the camera a bit. So I'm using a webcam because it has a wide-angle lens. The camera we used last week did not, so we had to pull it way back, far away from us. So, you know, we want to be close to you guys. You know, we want some intimacy here, right? Awkward as it may be to get close to two irreverent nerds. Or, nerd irreverent. Nerds irreverent. No. Sorry, my Yoda sucks. Anyway, let's see. Well, what do we got? Oh,
it's better than
I
mine.
my timer. We got one more minute of our intro with overview. We're trying to follow. See, check it out. We're trying to follow our outline here.
And we do, I need
so
to
we
turn
keep this.
I need to.
Oh yeah, turn your phone off, man. Come on, rude. How rude.
Okay,
so overview. So our next segment is going to be news of our lives. So basically, we just talk about like what's going on in our day-to-day lives, and I feel like we can share a bit about ourselves in these segments too. You know, so that our audience can get to know us and steal our identities. No, just kidding.
One foot is an inch longer than the other.
That's true for most people. Like I have a foot that's longer than the other.
My ears
it's not
are
an inch,
asymmetrical.
not an inch, but it is longer.
Oh, okay.
So we got news of our lives. Then we transition to what are you reading, which we're mostly talking about comic books, but other books too. I keep looking at the wrong camera.
There are two cameras?
There's like, I got like at this level, There's like the
Oh.
webcam for my
Oh.
laptop, but then we've got the webcam on a stand that's like up at this level. So anyway, then so here's our hook for this episode. We are going to be talking about Wanda Maximoff. I mean, hence the title of this episode is
whatever
Wanda
her
Has a
last name is.
Vision. Right? Wanda Has a Vision. And
A vision and the vision. She has
Yeah.
two visions.
so, and towards the end of that segment, Will is going to drop some spoiler warning bombs on us. He has some theories about the upcoming movie and what
Dude.
might happen with Wanda Maximoff.
Why did I freeze?
So, it just lags behind.
Okay.
It should be fine.
Okay.
So anyway, that's what's coming up. So, after this regularly scheduled message, we will return. This episode is brought to you in association with the Red Shirt Geeks, the home of old men gaming and Technicity. Join them weekly as they play games, talk about all things geek, and share in the wonders of all our fandoms. Visit them at redshirtgeeks.tv, on Twitch at redshirtgeeks, and on Instagram at redshirtgeeks and at Technicity. And we're back.
Dun, 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 dun.
So we just started recording the segment and realized I had the mic on mute. Stupid. Anyway, Will, what's going on in your life? What news dost thou have from thine life?
Well, I've been a little too busy to draw the comics. It's been a little too hot at work and not as slow as it was, before it got hot outside. But I'm still off work. I'm still slowly at home building the Ghostbuster props. I'm building a couple of weapons for my wife. I might have talked about it last time. I can't remember. We're going to do a fan film. Just spare the explanation. So I'm building some weapons for that. Need to sew on the patches on her costume probably tomorrow. But we're going to be at brain fart.
Some kind of
At
comic
Burke Street
convention.
Comics. Ryan's Burke Street Comics just reopened on April 30th, and we're going to hopefully be out there. We're planning. I'm definitely going to be out there. I'm just like still like this. My wife is taking some sort of nerdy interest.
Yeah, he's excited. Can you tell?
Yeah, but hopefully she'll come with me still in costume. But we should be out there as the Central North Carolina Ghostbusters, and also I'll have some of my books there to give out for free or to sell. It is Free Comic Book Day. I forgot to order more books, but
Oh, yeah, more of your. Do you give your Milo books away usually on Free Comic Book Day?
no. But I think I might this year since I don't have the free black and white ones, and I got people don't buy them, and I got overstocked. Why not? Yeah, why not?
Hey, get your work out there.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to give away. I'm not going to give away Crackerjack Comics #1 because that's like a $10 book. But
Yeah. No.
yeah, but
It's
some,
too big of a book.
Yeah,
to give away.
exactly.
Like even the big boys, Marvel, DC, they don't give anything away that nice.
That's true. That's true. Well, I was just thinking about some of my self-published, and I don't really know. Well, I'll save that for what I've been reading. So, what have you been up to?
Oh yeah. Let's see. What did I do this past week? Oh yeah. So my sister and brother-in-law came into town this past week, so we hung out at the park with us and the kids, and that was fun. Like we have this cool park here in town that has a fenced-in area with a playground and everything, and one of those, that flooring that's made from like recycled tennis shoe soles and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like rubbery and kind of bouncy.
I know what that is.
So yeah, it's a great spot to take the kids to. There's swings at the park too, and then you can walk all around. It's a really big park, stuff to do. Anyway, we hung out there with them, and then later that day, we went on a double date with them and got some food. And then, then I went out with my sister and brother-in-law, and then my other sister. We went out to see the newest Fantastic Beasts movie, Fantastic Beasts and the Secret of Dumbledore, which we all enjoyed.
Cool.
Like the ending was a little lacking. No spoilers. I'll
Haven't
just
seen
say it just felt a little flat. But overall, it was really enjoyable, and it was nice to be back in the wizarding world, Jude Law rocks it as Dumbledore, no surprise. Jude Law is amazing. And, Mads Mikkelsen, he did okay as Grindelwald.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, it's debatable whether he was better than Johnny Depp. Like, they both needed a little bit something more, to be honest. Okay. But it's hard to go toe to toe with Jude Law because Jude Law is amazing. Plus, he's playing the good guy. So
yeah.
But yeah, it was a good movie. It was enjoyable. And we got like the best seats. Cool. Where you're like just that row above the wheelchair row. You're like one step up. You're right in the middle there for IMAX screening. So that was fun. That was great.
I know we're not here to talk about Harry Potter, but I'm curious. Did the change in actor, did that take you out of the movie any at all, or was it convincing enough?
Not too much, because you already had the change. Like, so in the first Fantastic Beasts, you had Colin Farrell playing. Like, you didn't. I'm trying to remember if I'd already heard that he was Grindelwald in disguise before I went to see it. I don't remember if I did or not, but you find out towards the end of the first movie that Grindelwald has been like taking. I forget the name of the potion, but the potion like changes you into someone else. So you look like someone else.
Oh, so it was very organic change. That's good.
Yeah, at the very end of the first movie, it's revealed. Johnny Depp is at the end of the first movie. It's revealed that it was Grindelwald this whole time, and then Johnny Depp is in the entire second movie. And then for reasons which I shall not mention, he was fired / asked to leave from the third movie
until the judge said, "You're innocent."
Yeah, it's been all over the news, but
we're not talking.
I mean, by the time it's gotten sorted out, it's too late. They'd already finished production and everything. Yeah. But yeah, Mads Mikkelsen is a good actor, which, not coincidentally, he was in the first Doctor Strange movie as a villain, playing a villain there as well. So, yeah. But anyway, that was a little bit snapshot of what was going on in my life this past week. So, yeah.
Cool. Oh, I saw Sonic 2.
Okay. Well, let's save that for what we're watching.
Oh, sure.
Which I guess I should have saved.
That was like the week before last, I think, but it don't matter.
Yeah. All right. So, next segment coming up. Hey nerds, Richard here, taking a moment to talk to you about the podcast. If you have enjoyed one or all of our episodes, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and or follow us. We are on Spotify, Google, and Apple. If you're listening on Apple, please take a moment to leave us a review. It really does help. And let your friends know as well. Shout it from the rooftops. Come on, you know you want to.
And we're back.
So,
we'll get that right one day.
What have you been reading?
Well, I've actually been reading up about H.P. Lovecraft's and the other authors. I forget everyone's name. I mean that kind of stuff interests me, but I haven't really been a big reader of H.P. Lovecraft's work. I can't point out a book or anything because I'm actually just researching it online. The Ghostbusters fan film that my wife and I are making, since her family is from West Virginia, I was like, why not the Mothman? We'll fight the Mothman. So I was looking into that, and I found out that there was a Japanese anime. I mean, there's not a lot of information on the Mothman, just letting you know, but there's a Japanese anime that ties the Mothman to the Cthulhu Eldritch gods and that mythos. So I've been just digging around, seeing what I could find. So that's what I've been reading. I've been reading about how you pronounce these things. The great white worm during the Hyperborean age that wiped out Antarctica when it was a jungle. But
yeah, I'm not real big. I haven't done much to H.P. Lovecraft either. Obviously, I know who he is, but the closest I got is I watched the first few episodes of Lovecraft Country on the HBO Max, which actually was very interesting. Gruesome, very violent, but interesting. It was well done.
I played a lot of video games that had Cthulhu mythos in it. Sherlock Holmes versus Cthulhu was the game. That's real. It was kind of disappointing but I didn't get to see the unmentionable horrors
No.
more than I did. But you know, point and click games.
Well, if you'd seen it, then it would have been unmentionable, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't talk about it.
I'll give you a spoiler. Sherlock Holmes wins.
What? He doesn't fake his own death and come back 3 years later?
No, it happens in some other story.
Oh, yeah.
He reads the Necronomicon, doesn't lose his mind somehow.
You want to show...
Oh, sure.
So the book that you
Well,
brought to our viewing audience?
I've owned this for like over a decade because...
Tell everybody the title. For those who are just listening, tell them.
Kwai Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Kwai Dan, Japanese ghost stories. It's by Lafcadio Hearn, which I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So on Japan John, I'm going to start covering yokai. The first one's just going to be an overview on yokai, bakemono, etc. And then maybe, you know, future Japanese jaunts here and there. We're just going to focus on one Japanese ghost or monster. But, you know, Lafcadio Hearn, I think in the late 1800s, early 1900s, sometime, I forget. Yeah, it was originally published in 1904. He went to Japan and went around getting, you know, different folk tales and whatnot, and he wrote a book. And there's also insects and other various Japanese cultural things in there, or you know, yeah, there is some culture too. There's like the butterfly dances mentioned briefly. I haven't read the whole book yet.
That's creepy. It is Japanese ghost stories.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember if you had... I thought you had lent that to me at one point, but I don't recognize it now. Yeah.
I did. I forget. But yeah, I need to finish reading that. But I've read a lot of different stuff in the past on yokai and from different sources, so I know a bit. Lafcadio definitely is. Am I saying that right? I think he's French. Does that sound French? Well, Mr. Hearn.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't recognize that. Lafcadio.
Lafcadio, I guess so.
But, sorry, Mr. Lafcadio, if you're watching this. Or
his descendants.
I love Lafcadio.
So, anyone named Lafcadio, I guess. Lafcadio. He doesn't cover every yokai, but we're going to get into stuff that isn't in his book, too.
Sorry, I got distracted by my...
Okay. I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, my fault. I will talk a little bit about what I've been reading. So one of the things I've been reading is, which I will talk a little more about later when we preview. Well, it's coming up soon, but we're going to talk about Wanda Maximoff and her storylines in the comics, but also, you know, what we might expect in the movie, and then we're going to talk about WandaVision, which I just rewatched this past week. But I've been reading House of M, which is a really cool comic.
I recognize the
J. Michael Bendis is, I think, the writer. Let me see here. Yeah, like, wow, it looks really good on iPad. I've been reading it on my Kindle. It looks much better on the iPad.
It looks a lot better than me trying to read comics on my smartphone.
Yeah.
So what is that, Comixology?
Kindle Unlimited.
Kindle.
So,
right.
With Kindle Unlimited, like a lot of times they will allow you to read like the first in a series, like volume 1 of such and such graphic novel series or what have you, and then you got to buy the next one, or you got to subscribe to Comixology, which is an extra fee, an extra monthly fee. You don't get 100% access even with Comixology, I don't think, but you get a much broader access. And but yeah, it's cool. Like, I've read quite a few things. Like, I've read things in the Fable series, like I've talked about before, and read Marvel things. DC, like Batman Dark Victory is on there. I started reading that a little while back. It's on Kindle Unlimited. So a lot of cool stuff. And you're allowed to... Basically, it's kind of like a library where you're allowed to borrow like 10 titles at a time. And then if you want to read a new one, you got to return one of them, more or less. Like, so they only let you keep so many at a time on your Kindle or your Kindle app.
Oh, okay. So it checks your storage. Something like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, Amazon tracks everything you do on their apps, so they know what you're doing. They know, and if you have Alexa, she's listening. So anyway, yeah, so it's really well done, and the artwork is good, and it's a very interesting Wanda Maximoff / Scarlet Witch story. So as I said, we'll talk more about it here in a few minutes when we get into Wanda. But that's one of the things I've been reading this past week. So with that, I guess we'll wrap up this segment and move on to what have we been watching.
Joker here, bringing April cheer. Today's podcast is brought to you by Joker's Laughing Fish. Come on, you've got to try one. They're to die for.
Alright, so I guess I'll start with this one, since you started with reading. What have you been watching? I mean, obviously, WandaVision, I rewatched the entire miniseries, finished that up, but I'm going to save that for our next segment. I've been watching something called Ted Lasso with my wife. It's a comedy. Many of you have probably heard about it. It's about this gentleman who was a football coach of the U.S., and he gets hired to coach a soccer team, or football, as the rest of the world calls soccer. We have American football. The rest of the world in football is, well, those are speaking. Anyway, he gets hired to go to the UK and coach this team, and he doesn't know anything about soccer.
So sounds like the plot of many different movies.
Yeah, but it's just really well written. Like, you care about the characters. It has, the humor feels a little more naturalistic. It's funny, and it has heart, and yeah, I highly recommend it. My wife and I have both been getting into that this past few weeks. We finished the morning show also on Apple TV Plus, and I was like, well, I've heard Ted Lasso is good. I'm going to try it out. And it was. Kind of more on a sci-fi bent. I did watch a little bit of the Foundation series, because when I saw it previewed for Apple TV Plus, I got excited, and then I watched the first episode, and I was like,
cool.
And I started watching the second, and I just lost interest because it was getting
okay.
It just, how you watch it, like we talked about The Last Airbender last week, where it's you have all this expectation for something, and then for whatever reason you can't quite put your finger on it.
We're talking about Shyamalan's version.
You can't quite put your finger on it, but it falls flat.
Well,
it's something in that magical mixture that makes up an amazing movie didn't happen, or there's an ingredient missing or something.
Oh yeah. Shyamalan tried cramming too much into one movie, and honestly, my favorite character needed to be funny, and he wasn't.
Oh, the main character. Yeah, he's not funny at all.
No, I'm talking about the brother.
Oh, the brother.
Sokka.
Oh, yeah.
My boomerang boy. But
there weren't any funny characters.
He's the comedy relief, Shyamalan.
He didn't have any humor in that at all. There was no intentional humor.
I care about my sister. He's supposed to be the idiot. He's not actually competent.
Oh yeah.
And yes, our monk boy, Aang. Yes, he needs some lighthearted humor. He doesn't want to be the Avatar. He's not, he just wants to be a kid. But no, not dissing Shyamalan. I know he's a really big fan of The Last Airbender, but so I didn't know about the Foundation. Apparently you're not interested anymore.
Well, it's based off of. I haven't read the books, to be honest, but I've heard about them. Cool. I believe it's Isaac Asimov, if I'm not mistaken. I may be getting that wrong. Sci-fi fans, please correct me. But it's like a trilogy, the Foundation trilogy, and it's well known amongst sci-fi books of the 20th century, etc. I think I did start reading the first one, if memory serves me. Either that or listen to it on an audiobook. But with Asimov, I believe it was Asimov. It's either Asimov or Arthur C. Clarke. It's one of those two, big-time sci-fi writers from the 40s, 50s, 60s.
Okay. So there's definitely a sci-fi.
There was a lot of
Asimov.
anticipation for it. Yeah.
Okay. I was joking. Asimov, Maximov, Asimov, Maximov,
Asimov.
Maximov.
Yeah, if you've ever seen iRobot with Will Smith.
Yeah, I did.
It's based on Isaac Asimov.
Cool.
He has this trilogy about artificial life and how it interacts with future society. Like he wrote the 3 laws of, robot behavior, etc. So iRobot is based off of one of his books.
Cool.
For the trilogy. Anyway, so what have you been watching outside of stuff you've been researching for our topic for this week? Like, what else? Have you been watching much anything else? Not that you have to.
Well, honestly, I don't think that my wife Mandy is very interested in a lot of the stuff that I could watch. So here lately I've just been giving her control of the remote in the evenings. But so I've watched a lot of things I normally wouldn't watch myself. Been watching ER.
Ah, okay. What'd you think?
We're still in season 1. No, it's a good show. I like it. We're still in season 1. But I wouldn't. I've been exposed to a lot of things I wouldn't watch if I wasn't married. But
man, marriage is all about compromise, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all about compromise, but like there's a give and take, right?
Absolutely, there is a give and take, and she suffers through my stuff, my nerdy stuff.
Well, yeah, like she's going to see Doctor Strange with us this week, right?
Yeah, so. She is. She's invested in the Wanda's character, and she wants to see what happens after WandaVision.
Ah, nice.
Okay. She did see that series with me, and it was really slow in the beginning. She didn't like it, but she really got into it around the end. But yeah, my wife, she loves strong female characters, and I tried to introduce her to things like that. I introduced her to Wonder Woman and stuff, and she liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I introduced her to that. Anyway, there are some strong female characters in that she really likes, but getting off track. What have I been watching? Well, about 2 weeks ago, I watched Sonic 2. I didn't mention that last podcast. It was good. It was different than the games, of course. It was good. It was all right. Dude does a good job playing Knuckles. It was a different Knuckles, but it was good. I don't remember his name. He doesn't remember his name either.
I haven't seen either one. So
he played in Suicide Squad, the second one, which I also saw, and it was very R, but it was good. Okay.
What character did you play? Patriot?
No.
It's not John Cena.
No, it's not John Cena. It's a black guy. I think his name starts with
Idris.
Something.
Idris.
Yeah.
He plays Knuckles.
Yeah.
Ha! That's interesting.
Yeah, he does.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, there was this big joke leading up to the release of the film. It was sexy Knuckles. Anyway.
Was Knuckles ever not sexy?
I guess not. Guess he was always sexy. Maybe not. Maybe not in Sonic Bandages cartoon, whatever that was called. I forgot. I have bandages. Okay, so I've been watching. He said outside of, I'm going to say it anyway. Been watching a lot of YouTube. Been watching about the Mothman, the Mothman Prophecies, the Mothman Festival, the Mothman Museum.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you, there's a. It might be on YouTube. There's a documentary about the Mothman. I think I found it on YouTube.
I have watched some of those too.
Really well done. I enjoyed it better than the Richard Gere movie, I must say.
I have not watched the Richard Gere movie.
Yeah, it's forgettable. We'll put it that way.
I didn't know he did,
which is unfortunate because it has good actors in it. Like Richard Gere's decent. Laura Linney is awesome, and she actually is good in it. Richard Gere is like, but he's in most of his movies. So that's another topic.
Yeah, but I don't really watch as much as I could. I was watching some of the anime Haunted House. Shinbi's House is what's called in Japanese. That's because Mothman was in an episode. But so, if I can be creating something, that's usually what I spend my time doing.
Yeah. Maybe we should start doing a segment like that. Like, what are you creating? Maybe instead of what are you consuming, right? It's probably better.
Well, and when I get tired, I'll be consuming again. I gotta take a break sometime.
Everybody does. Like, we had our Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever. Oh, yeah. But yeah, like, I think that's something, like, I've been enjoying creating this. and partnering with you
Absolutely.
and doing that.
That's me too.
And like, because I've consumed and listened to so many podcasts, I'm like, I want to make one now.
I am
wanna do one.
completely alien and new to the podcast
Yeah.
land.
Me too. Like this is technically only the second podcast I've done. Now I have been doing obviously my YouTube videos for about a year. I had a short-lived podcast I did called Ancient Eclectic. It was like 6 episodes of
Yeah.
me
I
reading.
remember that.
I was reading the Iliad, and I was like trying to kind of audition for reading audiobooks, as a side gig or something.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know you were thinking about
I mean, yeah, that's something I've dreamed of doing for a long time, like doing voice acting or
Well, you're really good at it.
that. It would be fun, honestly. So
You want to play a redneck in my Ghostbuster film?
I could do that. We'll just have to be careful because we can get canceled nowadays. Although I have a feeling you won't get canceled for bashing rednecks. Probably.
Oh,
not.
I didn't want you to bash
because the people that do canceling probably don't care if rednecks get bashed.
Yeah, no, probably not. White people are completely on the table.
That's right. And since we're white,
But
we can
I'm
make
kidding.
fun of our own kind.
No,
Right?
no, we're gonna get in trouble now because we just.
Oh no. Anyway, now that we're yeah, please don't cancel us.
I didn't want you to bash rednecks anyway.
So
I just
yeah,
wanted you to play a country boy.
we're trying to balance things. Like I talked about my family owning slaves earlier, and now it's like we gotta bash white people a little bit to make up for. No.
Homer Simpson.
Oh yeah, he gets bashed all the time. I know he's yellow, but like he's a white man.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that, right?
Portray an Indian man in a decent way. He's like the best character on the entire show. Everybody's mad. Portray a white man, the worst character on the show. It's okay.
I know. Like I got to think about it because apparently it was an Indian comedian who started that thing. Because he took issue with how they portrayed Apu and is it Apu? Apu, yeah, Apu. And I'm like, they make fun of everybody on The Simpsons, like all races, all genders, all ages, like everyone's fair game. So
An Italian stereotype. Oh no!
So shouldn't and everybody's a stereotype of themselves on The Simpsons, like everybody. So I'm like, isn't it more a win for diversity that they have an ongoing Indian character as opposed to being like, I mean, come on. Which I think the Simpsons writers kind of felt the same way because they put a little jab in an episode afterwards.
Oh, they jab everything themselves.
But it was very, you knew what it was
Fox,
about. It was
Disney, Republicans.
I was like, come on, people. Like, think about the context. Like, don't just focus on this one thing. Like, look at the whole context. Look at the nature of the show, what it's always been. Anyway. That's Simpsons soapbox.
I watch some of Hot Diggity Demon's animations and stuff, and he does a really good he makes a really good case for Apu. You should if you're interested in that, you should check it out. Obviously we're not promoting racism at all. We don't want that. I just think the Apu character is actually portrayed really well compared to all the other people on the show.
Yeah, like he's intelligent, he's a loving father, like he supports his wife, he's a businessman, like he owns his own business. And say what you want about the fact that that's a convenience
more intelligent than the other people in town.
Yeah, like I think he's a great character. Like for The Simpsons, like within context, consider it in context. Like if you had this like dramatic cartoon and all of a sudden you had this caricature of an Indian person running a convenience store inside of this serious dramatic cartoon, then it would be like stick out like a sore thumb. This isn't good. But like Family Guy, The Simpsons, like I said, they make fun of everybody. So it's like, yeah. Anyway, we'll let the comedian. There's comedians like Dave Chappelle and others who have had a lot to say about cancel culture. So we'll let them take care of that.
Yeah, let's continue on.
Yeah.
Today's episode of the Irreverent Nerd Podcast has been brought to you by Duff Beer. Don't just sit on your Duff. Get in the bar and drink some beer. That means you too, Homer.
So we're talking about Wanda Maximoff tonight. We're in anticipation of the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness movie, directed by Sam Raimi. It's great to have Sam Raimi back in the Marvel sandbox. And my personal... I mean, I love Ghostbusters, so of course I love Army of Darkness, right? And Evil Dead 2 was hilarious. So you know...
I need to see those. I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah. Evil Dead 2 might be stupid, but it's hilarious. It's don't watch Evil Dead 1; it'll bore you to sleep. Unless you just want to laugh at when one of the demons gets pulled open, he just spills coleslaw everywhere because of the budget. I think it's coleslaw. I mean, anyway. So, when did you first? What was your first introduction to Scarlet Witch?
So for me, I mean, obviously, I knew her first as Wanda Maximoff. So my first exposure was Avengers: Age of Ultron. You know, the film. I don't think I knew about her at all before that. It was like I knew more about the mainline Marvel characters. I mean, like everybody knows about Spider-Man, obviously, but like Captain America, etc.
Yeah.
But I had not dug too deep into comics growing up, as I've said before. And as I got older, when I started getting into comics, initially it was more DC related, especially Batman.
Yeah, me too.
So I was not familiar with the Scarlet Witch or with Wanda Maximoff's character until she showed up in Age of Ultron. And I'll have to admit, like my initial impression was a little mixed. I was like, what are they doing with this character? Like, I had seen the actress in actually the Godzilla movie. She was in the Godzilla movie.
She was? Which,
yeah, was it 2014? Yeah, she was in. She played the wife.
She played the wife.
Yeah, yeah, in the Godzilla
I should have known
movie.
that. I'm the Godzilla guy.
Yeah, so I'd seen her in that, and I thought she did a really good job.
I own that movie.
And then it was just something like her accent didn't work very well for me, and this I was like, what's up with the skirt? Like I know it might be from the comics, but what's up with the skirt? It's kind of silly. They obviously did away with that eventually, which is good.
It's been a while since I've seen Age of Ultron, man.
Yeah, she's got this kind of goofy, like, Japanese schoolgirl skirt that she's wearing through most of the movie. And
She looks like Sailor Moon?
Yeah.
I didn't notice this. I'm going to have to go back now.
I know.
I was watching clips from old Age of Ultron earlier today on YouTube.
Yeah, it's like, I'm like, what? Give her pants, like, longer skirt, something, like, come on. It's just a little awkward.
I forgot to mention that I've also been preparing for tonight's video. Shout out to Comics Explained on YouTube. Thank you for helping me to remember some stuff and explain some things I actually didn't know about Wanda, but continue.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, but in that movie, there was definitely seeds of something that, piqued my interest with her character. So as her storyline continued on, like, was it, I think Civil War, I believe, was the next... Was it Civil War, or was it... yeah, I think it was Civil War. She was the next, I believe. Captain America Civil War.
Yeah, probably. I think so.
Because, like, she's there at the beginning where she accidentally shoots the building and hurts people. And she's, like, all bummed out about it. And then she's staying with Vision at the Avengers complex. Or he's sort of / keeping an eye on her. And obviously that's where their budding romance begins. And then
which I was looking forward to.
Yeah, like the beginning of Infinity War, like their first scenes in Infinity War, it felt like something was missing, like her and Vision. Yeah. It's like they jumped right into that. It's like, oh, we've been on the run for 2 years, and it just felt like something was missing a bit.
Yeah, it's true.
But obviously, like, WandaVision does an awesome job of filling in so many cracks for both characters and expanding on both characters. I mean, obviously, Wanda being the most important of the two, and just she really comes into her own in that series, and I thoroughly enjoyed rewatching.
She really needed that series, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the MCU, I've always loved the Vision in the MCU. The actor playing him, the way he portrays the character, it's great. Wanda is a good character too, but honestly, she didn't get her moment until WandaVision. I don't think so.
Yeah.
obviously she got a great deal of screen time in Age of Ultron. That's true. But I just mean that her character wasn't really explored until WandaVision. It wasn't really fleshed out
because she was a side character in other characters' movies.
Yeah,
up until that
unfortunately.
point.
Do you think she'll get a? Do you think she'll get a title movie?
That would be cool. I'd watch it.
Only Black Widow eventually got one.
Oh yeah, that's true. She did. Yeah.
Did you saw that, right?
I did.
Cool,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Captain Russia.
Yeah.
That's not his name.
I know it was supposed to come out earlier, so it felt out of sequence, which it was. You're kind of going back in time. But I still enjoyed it. Yeah. That's another topic for another time. But yeah, no, that would be really cool if she got her own, Scarlet Witch movie. But we'll see what happens in this movie. Hopefully she doesn't die or anything. That would suck.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah,
I really highly doubt that.
Although in rewatching WandaVision, especially the last couple episodes, when the other witch, I'm so tired.
Agatha Harkness.
Yes, thank you, Agatha Harkness.
Important character, different than from the comics, though. Yeah,
when she reveals herself, and then you go back through Wanda's memories, and you see how, her. I mean, they kind of hint at the fact that she was a mutant, but they can't use the word because Fox owned the rights at the time or something. I don't know, or it was kind of still a negotiation. But yeah, she's. Of course, it may depend on the timeline in the comic too, as to whether she is a mutant or not. Because she's. The one I'm reading, for instance, the House of M.
Yeah, if she was still a mutant in the House of M.
In the House of M, she's actually, and you may have told me about this before.
Yeah,
she's actually the daughter of Magneto.
I know. That's how I knew her.
Yeah.
See, I don't remember at this stage of my life. I'm almost 40, but I'm pretty sure in the 90s. Okay, in the 90s there were several superhero not movies. Well, there were some movies, but I wasn't going gaga over bat nipples. No, there was several superhero cartoon shows I really loved in the 90s. Obviously, Batman, the Animated Adventures, but there was Spider-Man, the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, and X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a long time. I actually started watching through the X-Men cartoon on Disney Plus sometime last year or so. But then kind of stopped and got distracted and did something else. But I think I was introduced to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in that cartoon. And I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah, I think that was my introduction. But I knew, no matter where I was introduced to the characters, I knew that Magneto was supposedly their father. I say supposedly because I've done some research earlier today, and it seems like the comics have done a lot of retconning because of Fox in recent years that I didn't know about because I don't have money to buy every comic issue that hits the stands or doesn't hit the stands. Oh, sorry.
No, I guess I'll fill that
Okay.
blank space with what I'm looking at here. So I'm looking through the House of M comic here. And something that the WandaVision series deals with, something that Agatha talks about, is that Wanda is this being who is capable of spontaneous creation.
But that's in the show, right?
Yeah, in the show and in the MCU timeline, it's implying that she's someone whose coming was prophesied. Because Agatha knew about it.
The Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, had known about it for 400 years, or however long. I think she became, she gained, her power initially back around 1693, Agatha did. And then had been gaining and learning ever since.
And her mother in the MCU show is actually closer to the comic book Agatha Harkness than she is. Wanted to point that out, but
okay, so she was one of the Salem witches and
well, the comic Agatha Harkness was an elderly woman and she was a good guy. She was her first introduction is that she's the babysitter for Reed and Sue Richards' children.
Okay.
But she eventually does take Wanda under her wing in the comics to train her to control her chaos magic. And depending on where you are in Marvel comic history, Wanda either does have chaos magic or she doesn't. Either chaos magic exists or it doesn't.
So apparently in the MCU it does. Because
Yes.
WandaVision talks about that.
Because we have better continuity in the MCU.
Yeah, like that is one cool thing with the MCU. Like they've been able, in a sense, to
Yeah.
like pull out a lot of things from all the disparate comic timelines and form sort of like a fusion and like a relatively consistent through line. Over the course of the last 14 years.
Yeah,
Like, that's been cool. Like, not as I said, I was not someone who read a ton of Marvel comics, so I didn't have a lot of like expectations or like disappointments of like, well, why didn't you pick up this part of this storyline? That came out 5 years ago, and I didn't have a lot of that.
I had some of that, but
Yeah.
some only a little.
Did you feel aggravation on some things? You're like, why did they do that?
Well, they didn't introduce Agatha's son, Scratch, but they were
Scratch.
going to. He was going to be the rabbit, but they cut that scene. You didn't know about the rabbit scene?
No.
Yeah. So Ralph, his name was Ralph, right? I want to point out that I'm pretty sure that Disney owned Fox when they made WandaVision, because we were all being like, "Oh, they're going to put mutants in it," and then Quicksilver's here, but he from the Fox X-Men to Quicksilver, but then we turn out, oh, that's Ralph. Who's that?
Ralph.
But that was a little Easter egg because it was the Quicksilver actor from the Fox X-Men universe.
Yeah.
So you got us, Disney.
Yeah, and I like how
You
they
got us.
I like how they kind of went meta with that and
Yeah.
play with you a bit, because then Darcy's like, she recast Pietro,
Exactly. But
and I love how they also pointed out the kind of poked fun at Wanda's accent during it too.
That was funny too.
Is like, her brother's like, what's up with your accent? She's like, what's up with yours? And I was like, and then I think Agatha also points it out. It's like, why is it so inconsistent? So I think that was, they were kind of poking fun at.
So they had this rabbit scene that got deleted from like the final episode or two. They were, oh gosh, what's the? I was really happy when they introduced the superhero. Shoot, they introduced a new superhero, that lady. In was it Phasmo? It was. Well, she's gonna be starring in the Marvels. She's gonna be starring in the Marvels movie alongside Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel. Darn it, what was her superhero name? Any of her superhero names? I think she had like a 2 or something through the comics, but I forget. Anyway, so it was gonna be her. Was it Polaroid? No, it wasn't Polaroid. Something to do with light or something. Anyway, so it's her, Ralph, who doesn't have his powers anymore, I think. And I can't remember if it was the kids or who it was, but they were going to be trying to steal the Darkhold. The rabbit was going to turn into this like demon character. So it wasn't really Agatha's son Scratch, but they were going to try to do something there. That was the lead scene.
So Monica Rambeau is
Monica Rambeau.
but that's not her superhero name. But like,
No, but I have a name. All I need is a name.
Yeah.
Photon. Maybe it's Photon. Might be Photon. I feel lucky. But I'm a lot more familiar with Miss Marvel from the comics, to be completely honest. I'm really looking forward to that. They haven't put that. I don't think they put that on Disney Plus yet. I think we're still going through Moon Knight first.
All right.
So,
Let's see. Trying to think what. I did want to talk a little bit more about the spontaneous creation thing.
yeah.
Because obviously, WandaVision is like almost the entire thing is her like spontaneously, like out of grief, like creating this hexagonal dome, over and like rewriting the molecular structure of the town of Westview, like turning it black and white, and initially, and you find out they actually tie that in, obviously, to like her past, where the night that her parents were killed, they were watching the Dick Van Dyke Show. So like her grief, which is similar to how the brain actually works in traumatic, like when your PTSD is triggered, obviously she just lost vision, which probably triggered her trauma from losing her parents, and she had to watch Vision die twice, which they talk about. So it brought her back to that. So in her grief, like she, without even trying to, like, created the house that they had meant to build together, and then like rewrote Westview, and like, but then, including, like, you find out later in the series, and spoiler warning, by the way, if you haven't watched WandaVision yet, pause this and go watch it, or just skip to the next segment.
Where have you been for like 2 years?
I know.
When did it come out? It's been 2 years, right?
At least a year. Okay. Yeah, it's been at least a year.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe just 1 year.
But yeah, like, because initially, like, for a while in the series, you don't know whether she just reanimated, Vision, and then you find out she spontaneously generated Vision out of her.
Yeah, that was a good twist.
Yeah, like, that was pretty cool, actually. And there's another thing we talk about maybe after the movie, or like, but just I'm curious whether Vision will be in it, and I wonder if he might even be that one little spot that I thought was Johnny Storm. I wonder if that might be White Vision.
No. I think I know what you're talking about, because I saw a couple of new trailers today that I hadn't seen yet, and in one of them you couldn't really tell who the fiery figure was flying around, but there was one trailer I saw where the character slows down and turns off her fire. It's a woman. She's I know it's a woman because I'm trying to put that down, please. She has boobs. Okay, so, and she has a pixie cut, butch haircut. Honestly, I think it's either Captain Marvel or it's a multiverse Captain Marvel. I don't know what universe she hails from, but I think, looking at the character when she turns the fire off and I can actually see her a bit more clearly, I think it's a Captain Marvel of some kind. Maybe she's on the Illuminati in this film. The Illuminati are in this film. I mean, that's like in the trailer.
Yeah. No, that's been.
They've said the word Illuminati. So, spoiler, sorry. Well, got a spoiler alert earlier, right?
I mean, if they haven't watched the trailer, I mean, unless you're, if you're someone that doesn't want to spoil anything, then I assume you're not listening to a podcast.
That's true.
About Wanda Maximoff, 3 days before or 2 days before the movie comes. Actually, when it releases, it'll be 1 day before. So yeah. So if you are listening, I assume you don't mind being spoiled a bit.
And with that out of the way,
yes, that's right.
I am released.
So,
off
the final 10 minutes of our Wanda segment here, Will has some theories.
And was there anything you wanted to say first?
Oh, well, I was just gonna talk a little bit. Like, I was looking, kind of browsing through the House of M as we were talking here, and there's this little. Larry talks about, like, previously in Avengers, like what led up to this particular series. It says, it was the worst day in Avengers history. The Scarlet Witch suffered a total nervous breakdown after losing control of her reality-altering powers. In the chaos created around the breakdown, beloved Avengers Hawkeye, Ant-Man, and the Vision lost their lives. Many of the other Avengers were hurt, both emotionally and physically. And that's 6 months before the events of the House of M. So it's another traumatic event. So, like, in this one, she unintentionally kills Vision, whereas Infinity War, like, he asked her to intentionally kill him in order to save half the universe.
I think he's died more than once in the comics, though. I think he has.
Probably.
Maybe the second time he died in the comics.
What character hasn't died more than once in the comics?
don't know. Even Peter Parker has died.
Yeah, I know. Probably like Superman
Yes, no,
has died.
he did. And Deadpool had to go. Deadpool shot him in the forehead.
Oh, that's fun.
And then they became best friends. He rescued him from hell.
Of course.
Oh, you can't have Petey, Mephisto. He's mine. I want to read that whole series.
Oh,
Anyway, yes, and then that's why Peter Parker hates Deadpool.
oh man, have you?
But
I think you sent it to me. The where they took the Deadpool trailer and they put was it Bully Parker, Bully Maguire, like the Bully Maguire version of
like
Deadpool. Look it up on YouTube if you haven't seen it. It's hilarious. My favorite part is how did that get there?
how did that get there?
So they took Deadpool. They superimposed clips of Peter Parker's deepfakes. Yeah, they deepfaked Tobey Maguire's
whole
head
body
and audio. No, well, most of the time it was just his head onto Deadpool's head, like from the Sam Raimi movies, and like it's just interspersed with the actual trailer for Deadpool. It's hilarious. I gotta rewatch that.
We are so ADD. Are you really going to stick to this 10 minutes, or are we going to go over?
All right, you got 8 minutes to talk about your Darkhold Wanda storyline.
Well, I've been wondering. See, when a new Marvel movie comes out, I say to myself, what in the comics could they possibly pull for it? I mean, some things are obvious. It's the first movie. Well, it's probably going to be the origin story. Captain America was the origin story, the first Avenger. And I thought that about Civil War. Oh, what are they going to do? They can't do this because we haven't set that up. Maybe they can do that. Stuff like that. So I don't know. For the longest time, it's like I have no idea where the Multiverse of Madness could even go. First of all, I'm not super familiar with Doctor Strange, although I'm excited due to the fact that I love paranormal, supernatural things, and
oh yeah, isn't there like a zombie Strange in the trailer somewhere, or undead Strange?
Yeah, I saw that, and there's some theories floating around that I've heard.
And there's one where he looks like a Hindu god, but a Hindu goddess, where he has like the multiple arms.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
well, I think that's just one of his spells.
Oh, okay.
Didn't he do something like that already in like Infinity War or Endgame or something? Maybe the original Doctor Strange. But anyway, so I didn't know where they were going to go with this. I did some research, and some of the stuff has been out there for a long time. But there's one storyline that just came out last year, and I don't think that's a coincidence. Now maybe that was written after this movie was written, but the storyline I find interesting. Spoiler alert, I don't know if it'll be in the film or not, but it could be. They did a story last year in 2021 in which Wanda, Loki, Doctor Doom, and I don't know if Doctor Strange is in it or not, travel the multiverse with the Darkhold, and I don't have a lot of information about it. I just learned it existed today. Thank you. I think it was on Comics Explained. There was 2 other sources. I forgot. Sorry. But, I did watch at least 3 Comics Explained videos today, and I think that might have been one of them. But, so, in the story, Doctor Doom is using Wanda. Apparently they're trying to take down, is it Cthulhu? I think that's the fictional knockoff Cthulhu villain in here.
Yeah. Cthulhu. You want me to just read what you wrote to me?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then you can comment extemporaneously on it.
That'd probably be faster.
Well, let's see. So he said, "Hey man, I've been confused on exactly where the new movie would go, ultimately because there wasn't really a parallel in the comics that I was aware of. However, last year Marvel Comics introduced that story in anticipation to the film releasing. Apparently, Wanda, Loki, potentially Doctor Strange, and Doctor Doom travel the multiverse to stop Cthulhu, a Cthulhu mythos eldritch god that originally gave Wanda a chaos magic power boost when she was a child.
Right. I found out about that date today too. Just so much history I don't know about because I just don't have the money or the time to read 60 years of Marvel comics.
I know, and that I was thinking of that earlier. Like we were watching that overview video from what was the name of that channel? Comics Explained.
Yeah. So, I showed him one of the videos I watched. Nexus Beings.
Yeah, and I'm like, just like, he's like,
because I think Nexus Beings, I think that has the biggest potential of having something to do with the new film. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like Wanda being a Nexus being and drawing power from the Nexus, whatever the Nexus is. When I hear Nexus, I think of Star Trek Generations, honestly, the movie. Like, that's what I think of when I hear Nexus. But I know they reference the Nexus in Loki.
Yeah, a lot. They use the word a lot. They use the word only once in WandaVision, in this, like, fake drug commercial.
Okay.
And Man-Thing is in the comics. He's another Nexus being. But go ahead.
Creative name, Man-Thing.
I think it's Man-Thing, isn't it? I mean, I know Swamp Thing is DC.
I think he did use the word Man-Thing.
Okay.
See, did you want me to read more, or do you want to just?
Oh, sure.
All right, let's see. Okay. So, they gave Wanda a chaos magic power boost when she was a child. Chthon did. This paranormal being wishes to return to Earth in a physical manifestation, but can only do so with or through the power of the Darkhold book. Which, at the end of WandaVision, you see that Wanda has gotten a hold of it, and with her astral self is studying it.
I think she's looking. This is more.
I'm assuming
obvious.
it's her astral self. Like, it looked like it because it's similar to the way Doctor Strange, when his astral body with her astral body, like that's what it looked like. She was sitting.
That's a good idea.
She was sitting on the front porch, and then she goes in to get tea, but then it goes to the back room, and like as Scarlet Witch, like her astral, it would look like an astral body, dressed up as Scarlet Witch, was studying the book, and like you see all these symbols and stuff floating around, and she's like.
But you can't control your astral body and your real body at the same time, can you?
Maybe Wanda can.
Maybe. Or maybe she already tapped into the multiverse. Maybe one of them was actually another Wanda. I don't know. That's probably not true. But I have no idea.
It didn't look like a corporeal. Like it looked more like from the Doctor Strange film, when he has his astral body. That's what it looked like. I'll have to go back and watch it again.
Hey, thanks. Yeah. I never thought of that though.
That was my first thought, and part of that's because I just rewatched Doctor Strange the week before I rewatched WandaVision, so I was like, oh, that looks like Doctor Strange's astral body form. But so let's see. All right. And you say here, spoiler alerts for this story, bro. Stop now. So we say the same to you.
We can skip that sentence.
So I'll just read this, and then we'll finish up with this because we're coming up on our time.
Oh, yeah. I think she's going to be looking for her kids, by the way.
Let's see. Stop now if you don't want potential possible spoilers for the film. Okay. So, in this story, a group of Avengers read the Darkhold in order to gain supernatural powers to fight Chthon. But unfortunately, they read too much, and instead of becoming Darkhold defenders, they become the Darkhold defiled, causing them to turn on Wanda and the others.
Thank you again for Comics Explained, or wherever I got this from.
Yeah. By the end of the story, Wanda merges her being with the Darkhold and uses her power to absorb Chthon in order to contain him within her being. Anyway, other comics about Wanda include her rescuing the souls or essences of her twin children from either the soul or essences of Mephistopheles or another demonic character of some type.
I forget.
Anyway, the creature known to be in Doctor Strange 2 is not Chthon, but it is a Cthulhu mythos being. Shumagorath.
But they can't legally do that.
Or it should be, but toys have revealed they've renamed the character, probably because of copyright issues with the H.P. Lovecraft estate or something.
Yep. And Conan. They can't. Shumagorath is first written down in the H.P. Lovecraft Cthulhu books.
And was it just me, or when I first saw that in the trailer, I couldn't help but think of the giant star being from the end of the
Starro.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Squad. Nasty, like throwing those little things out of its armpits. And like, oh, so gross. But
I love
and
that
yet
thing
I couldn't
too.
look away.
You know, Starro is really ridiculous, but they somehow were able to bring that character to live action in a way that wasn't stupid.
It
was great.
It looked amazing. I think in the theater when I saw it. Did you and I go see it together? I'm trying to remember.
We might have.
I think we did.
Can't remember. Or did I watch it on?
You might have already seen it, but then you
Hulu or
maybe you went to see it with me. I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember.
Anyway, it was pretty cool to see on the big screen.
So they renamed Shumagorath Garganto, which is a completely separate Marvel character I would never have known about because it only appeared in one issue. It was just this like octopus with an eyeball. But the characters look almost identical, so
why not? Yeah. So anyway, we should wrap this up here. We're trying to keep it to 30 minutes talking about Wanda Maximoff. So obviously we're excited about the movie. We're gonna go see it this Thursday.
Lots of ties with the What If show, so watch that first.
Yes, that's right.
We've got the evil Doctor Strange, or whatever we're calling him.
I'm gonna try to rewatch Loki between now and then too, because
Loki might be in it. I don't know.
Yeah, like even if the actual character of Loki's not, maybe a variant of Loki will be in there. Oh yeah, and then the Comics Explained guy talked about the Time Variance Authority, which I wonder if they're going to pop up, because they're obviously a big part of the Loki series.
Yeah, I don't know. Depends on how overinflated the film is already.
Yeah, you can only do so much. 2.5 hour movie or however long it's going to be, like probably something like that, 2.5.
And now that the multiverse has exploded, maybe there's just too much for them to fix right now. They're dealing with something else. I don't know.
Yeah, and probably what they'll be doing in the movie as well is introduce storylines that they're going to flesh out in either other series or other movies, probably too. Like,
and I'm wondering if King the Conqueror is in it, but honestly, I'm thinking that Garganto is
not. They got to save some stuff
not
for
a real
Loki season 2, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do. So Garganto, Shumagorath in the comics, he's trying to. He doesn't. He's outside the multiverse. He's in some Cthulhu universe. He's not even in the Marvel multiverse. Apparently, there are universes outside the multiverse. So he doesn't exist.
How does that work?
I have no idea.
Another multiverse outside of this multiverse? There's multiple multiverses?
I guess so.
I mean, at some point, if you're going to be drawing comics for like 70 years, you got to get creative with your storyline. Yeah. Let's just make another multiverse.
So, well, I mean, the DC multiverse exists.
Why not?
Because they met each other. So I just want. I mean, I'm excited. I know we're running out of time. I'm excited for the film. I think Garganto is going to be the B villain. I'm expecting the evil Doctor Strange to be a threat.
Oh yeah, and obviously
Peggy Carter's going to be in this thing.
Scarlet Witch is going to be
not
a threat as well.
I've been wondering
even
about
just
that.
Because she has chaos power.
Yeah. She might absorb the Darkhold and absorb Garganto, like in that 2021 storyline. Doctor Doom was trying to do the same thing, and maybe, but Scarlet Witch anticipated it and stopped Doctor Doom and did it herself. Stole all the power herself, so Doctor Doom couldn't have it. Maybe evil Doctor Strange will be the Doctor Doom analog. Yeah.
Oh, we'll see.
Well, American Chavez is in it.
Yeah, you talked about that last week, I think.
Yeah, I mean, so who knows what they're going to do with her? So it's a wild card.
We'll see. I'm excited. So when next we meet, Will and I will do. I guess we could include Mandy, or we could do it the following day. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We're going to do a bonus episode where we do our initial reactions of the film, and maybe at a later date we'll do a deep dive or go back and revisit certain parts of the film. But yeah, we're going to do our initial reactions. We hope to release that on Friday. That we'll see whether that's a video episode or not. It'll at least be audio, but we'll figure it out. So cool. All right, guys. Cool. So coming up next is Sci-Fi Focus, and then Will's Japan Jaunt. and then we'll close it up. So, see you, nerds.
Sayonara.
This week's episode will be brought to you in association with the Red Shirt Geeks, the home of old men gaming and Tricknicity. Join them weekly as they play games, talk about all things geek, and share in the wonders of all our fandoms. Visit them at redshirtgeeks.tv, on Twitch at redshirtgeeks, and on Instagram at redshirtgeeks and at Tricknicity. Alright, nerds, go check out their pages, Twitch, YouTube, and coming soon, podcast. Hey nerds, Richard here to talk to you for a few minutes about Star Wars Visions. First of all, let me say, happy May the 4th, or to be more precise, May the 4th be with you. I am a Star Wars fan. I don't consider myself a hardcore Star Wars fan, but I do thoroughly enjoy it, and I have watched every Star Wars property with the exception of Clone Wars and Rebels. Yes, I know, I need to get to those, but give me a break, okay? There's like 14 seasons worth of material there, so I'll get to it eventually. But I have seen all the movies, and I have also seen the short series like The Mandalorian, more recently The Book of Boba Fett, and my topic for today, Star Wars Visions. So I enjoy a good anime film, right? I remember, let's see, it's probably been almost 10 years ago now, maybe more, since a Batman animated film came out, but it wasn't your typical film. It wasn't a single storyline. It was multiple short episodes, basically multiple vignettes that made up a single movie. Each vignette had its own storyline, and each was directed and animated by a different Japanese anime studio and director. And it was really cool. I loved the concept. Each one had a different tone. Now, the same voice actors, played Batman and various characters throughout. Kevin Conroy, I believe, came back for that one, if I'm not mistaken. But each one had a different tone and a different animation style. It was really enjoyable and just different. Well, Disney Plus / Lucasfilm has pulled off something similar with Star Wars Visions. They have taken a different approach to each episode, a different anime style for each episode. And those of us who are Star Wars fans realize that one of the inspirations for George Lucas was the Seven Samurai film. It's a Japanese film, obviously about samurai. Later on, there were some American movies that were based on the Seven Samurai concept. But George Lucas, for his Jedi Knights, drew some inspiration from the samurai and the code of Bushido. And I would assume Japanese religion as well, to some degree, with, the idea of the Force and the Jedi religion, in essence. But the Jedi are, in many ways, samurai in space. In some ways, yeah, it's just, So I love a good samurai movie. I can't say that I've seen a lot of them, but I have seen The Last Samurai, which, yes, I know was not made by a Japanese director or filmmaker, but honestly, I would be curious to know what Japanese viewers thought of it. I thought, to me, it seemed like a beautiful homage to the Code of Bushido and to the samurai way, but I could be wrong about that. I'm obviously not Japanese. I'm American. But it seemed to me like it was very respectful of that path. And this Star Wars Visions beautifully combines the samurai story in anime form with Star Wars. So if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to do so. Each vignette is meaningful and enjoyable in its own way. Some are more serious, some are a little more humorous, as anime often is, in tone. but each one is enjoyable. So guys, hey, on this May the 4th, if you haven't checked it out yet, go watch it. At least check out the first episode. I think you'll be hooked. There are 9 total episodes, and each one is like a little mini movie. So go see it if you haven't. Once again, May the 4th be with you, my nerds. Until next time.
Hello, this is Cartoonist Will, and welcome to this week's Japan Jaunt. Now, this week we will be covering yokai, but we won't be covering the entire thing. Obviously, 5 minutes isn't a lot of time. I've learned my lesson the last 2 Japan Jaunts. So today is just a brief overview of yokai in general, and I think that I'll save some future Japan Jaunts to focus just on one yokai a piece. Anyway, so yokai are Japanese ghosts or monsters that are taken out of folklore, and it's just crazy, man. I mean, I love Japanese culture. I love a lot of the things coming out of Japan, video games, kaiju, all sorts of stuff. Now, about yokai, and I used to use the word bakemono interchangeably, but that's not correct. Bakemono, which makes more sense to me anyway, and I think I started doing this myself, but that word actually refers to shape-shifting yokai. I think I figured that out because one of my favorite yokais is the Bakeneko. The Bakeneko is a shape-shifting cat. Anyway, like I said, we'll get into focusing on one individual yokai at a time in future Japan Jaunts. I think it'll give us a lot of good content. But that's one of my favorites. I actually studied Japanese culture, architect, folklore, and all sorts of things, language, for about 10 years, until I finally gave up. And why I did this is I love Stan Sakai's Usagi Yojimbo comics. I love Japanese culture and folklore and whatnot so much that I wanted to create some comics based around samurai, ninja, yokai. I especially love supernatural things. I'm really big into Ghostbusters. I love Men in Black. So yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Cryptozoology. Anyway, so the yokai were really fascinating to me. Really fascinating. So, I spent a lot of time because I just wanted to, inspired by Stan Sakai's Usagi Yojimbo, and less, I wouldn't say less, no, in a different way. The also masterful Samurai Jack by Genndy Tartakovsky. That's not Japanese, it's Japanese inspired, but it's not from Japan. It's very watered down samurai, but still a great cartoon show. We're not here to talk about Jack, though. But, just things like this in the late 90s, just really inspiring me in late 90s, early 2000s. And so from about 2000 to 2010, something like that, I was really studying this stuff because I really wanted to talk about it. Anyway, we've got 2 minutes left. So, there's a lot of really strange yokai. You got your Kappa, which is a turtle monkey yokai. You got the Guma Onna, which is a spider woman. Now, I don't remember all the Japanese names right now. I need to really brush up. But, I've got some books. I've got Hearn's Japanese ghost stories called Kwaidan. That's Lafacadio Hearn. I don't really know how to pronounce his name. Lafshadio. Anyway. So, it's just a lot of stuff that I printed off the internet 20 years ago. Well, maybe not 20 years ago. What year was that? Well, it was almost 20 years ago. Maybe not 20. No, not exactly 20, but I'm old. Anyway, we've got giant centipedes. We've got a yokai that likes to say hi in the middle of the night, then it just bends over and moons you, and there's this eyeball in his anus. We've got an invisible wall yokai, which in my mind I picture as the one from Mario, except invisible. Except apparently I learned today that there are paintings depicting it, and it looks like the white flying dog dragon from Neverending Story. Yeah, that's apparently what it looks like when it's not invisible. You've got the Bakeneko, like I mentioned earlier, which is the shape-shifting cat. You've got the Nekomata, which is a necromancer cat. You've got sickle or scythe weasels. Anyway, so you have fun digging into that. Until next time, this has been Cartoonist Will of Japan Jaunt. Adios and sayonara.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode. You can follow us on Instagram at irreverent_nerd. That is at irreverent_nerd. We also have a YouTube channel, appropriately titled Irreverent Nerd. If you'd like to leave a voice message to be included on a future episode, go to anchor.fm/irreverentnerd/message and drop us a line. Until next time, our fellow nerds, make it so. May the Force be with you. Avengers assemble! I'm Batman.